The spaceship docked at the Galactic Academy of Sciences with a soft hiss. Inside, 5 humans from Earth checked their bags one last time. They were the first humans ever accepted into the most prestigious school in the galaxy. "Remember," said John Martinez, running a hand through his short brown hair, "we're representing all of Earth here." Lily Watson nodded, tightening her ponytail. "And try not to accidentally kill anyone with our deadly Deathworlder germs." The other 3 humans, Sam Ellis, Kate Reynolds, and Peter Johnson, laughed nervously. They had all been chosen for their academic excellence, but also for their ability to adapt to strange situations. Coming from Earth, a planet classified as a Class 12 Deathworld by galactic standards, made them rare specimens indeed. The doors slid open. A group of aliens waited for them. The one in front looked like a blue jellyfish floating 3 feet off the ground. 6 eyes on stalks moved independently, studying each human carefully. "Welcome to the Galactic Academy. I am Dean Zixvoon," the jellyfish said, its voice coming through the human's translator implants. "We are pleased to host our first Earth students." The pause before "pleased" was noticeable. John stepped forward with a smile. "Thank you for the opportunity, Dean Zixvoon. We're excited to learn alongside the brightest minds in the galaxy." The dean's eyes pulled back slightly. "Yes, well, you will each be assigned to separate dormitories with non-human roommates. We have prepared special accommodations for your unique biological needs." "You mean like beds and toilets?" Peter whispered to Sam, who elbowed him to be quiet. An alien that resembled a praying mantis stepped forward, holding a tablet. "I am Professor Tik-Tik, Head of Student Affairs. Your schedules and room assignments are available on these devices." The mantis handed out small transparent squares to each human. "Please note the areas marked in red. These are zones you're human. Biology may find challenging or dangerous." Lily looked at her map and raised an eyebrow. "Nearly half the academy was marked in red. Also note the areas marked in yellow," Professor Tik-Tik continued. "These are zones where your presence may be dangerous to other students." The humans exchanged glances when they saw that nearly half the remaining areas were yellow. A small green alien with 4 arms and large eyes approached them. "I am Dr. Mipa, Biology Department. Before you join your classes tomorrow, we must review safety protocols." The alien's voice was soft and musical. "Please walk slowly at all times. Your quick movements may trigger fear responses in many species. Speak quietly. Your vocal range includes frequencies that can cause pain to sensitive hearings. And please, no touching other students without explicit permission." John smiled politely. "We've studied all the protocols, Dr. Mipa. We understand our responsibilities." "Excellent," Dean Zixvoon interjected. "Now we will escort you to your dormitories. Classes begin tomorrow at first light." The humans were led through wide hallways, filled with the most diverse collection of beings they had ever seen. Some floated, some crawled, some had so many limbs it was hard to count. Students stopped to stare at the humans, some with obvious fear, others with curiosity. Lily was the first to be dropped off. Her roommate was a crystalline being named Vix, who communicated through light patterns that the translator converted to speech. "I have studied humans," Vix said, its surface glittering with blue and green patterns. "You require water consumption every few hours and unconsciousness for 1/3 of each day cycle. Fascinating biological weaknesses." Lily smiled. "We call it drinking and sleeping, but yes." John was taken to a different wing entirely. His roommate was Clib, the insectoid student from a low-gravity world. Clib's exoskeleton clicked nervously. As John entered, "The Academy gave me safety protocols for living with a Deathworlder," Clib said, antennae twitching. "Is it true humans can lift 10 times their body weight In emergency situations? John set his bag down carefully. That's a bit exaggerated, but we are stronger than we look sometimes. And you consume plants and animals for energy? Living things? Yes, but I brought my own food supply, John said, patting a container. No need to worry. That evening, all 5 humans met in the specially designed Earth Room, a space set aside for them with Earth normal gravity and atmosphere. My roommate is terrified of me, Sam said, falling into a chair. He keeps asking if I'm going to eat while he's sleeping. Kate laughed. Mine asked to see my teeth and then almost fainted. The gym instructor pulled me aside, Peter added. Apparently, we're only allowed to use the exercise equipment when no other students are present. They're afraid we'll snap our spines or something. Lily sat cross-legged on the floor. Did you all see the emergency protocols they gave us? If there's a crisis, we're supposed to remain calm and wait for instructions. No mention of actually helping. John sighed, looking out the window at the stars. We knew this wouldn't be easy. We're literal aliens here, but we're also ambassadors for Earth. Tomorrow, we show them that humans aren't just scary Deathworlders. We're scary Deathworlders who are also really good at chemistry, Kate said with a grin. They all laughed, easing the tension of their first day. None of them realized that in just a few short weeks, the Academy's perception of humans would change. Forever. And it would start with a simple chemistry class accident that would prove that sometimes the most dangerous species might also be the safest to have around when things go wrong. 2 weeks passed at the Galactic Academy. The human students settled into a routine. They attended classes, studied in the library, and tried their best to move slowly and speak softly around the alien students. Most aliens still kept their distance, but a few brave ones had started to ask questions about Earth. Today was the first advanced chemistry lab of the semester. Lily walked into the large room filled with strange equipment. Her lab partner, Dr. Mipa, was already there, setting up their station. Good morning, Mipa, Lily said quietly. Greetings, human Lily, Mipa replied, her 4 arms working on 4 different tasks at once. Today, we will be studying molecular transformation under controlled energy conditions. Sounds like fun, Lily smiled. She looked around the room. John was at a station with Clib. Sam, Kate, and Peter were spread out with their own partners. Professor Ziv Tan, a tall alien with skin like tree bark, stood at the front of the class. Today's experiment involves transforming stable compounds into new structures. Please follow safety protocols. The compounds are harmless in their current state, but the transformation process can create temporary toxic byproducts. The students began their work. Lily followed Mipa's instructions carefully, measuring precise amounts of colorful liquids into a glass container. Around them, 20 alien students did the same with their partners. Halfway through the class, Lily noticed something wrong at a station across the room. 2 reptilian students were arguing, their scales changing colors rapidly. One of them knocked over a container. Blue liquid spilled across their table and onto the floor. The liquid began to smoke. Professor, one student called out. Accidental. Mixture. Professor Ziv Tan rushed toward them, but stopped several feet away. Everyone remained calm. The ventilation system will clear the toxic fumes. Nobody move. Emergency response will arrive in approximately 7 minutes. Lily looked around in confusion. The blue smoke was spreading quickly. It smelled like rotten eggs and burning plastic. Most alien students had frozen in place, their bodies rigid with fear. Even the professor stood still, nearly blinking rapidly. Then Lily saw Mipa. Her delicate aquatic skin was starting to bubble where the smoke touched it. According to the safety briefing, exposure to certain chemicals could be fatal. To Mipa's species. Without thinking, Lily grabbed Mipa and lifted her into her arms. Hold your breath, she shouted to the room. "Cover your mouths and noses. Move to the exits." No one moved except the humans. John was already pulling Clib toward the door. Sam, Kate, and Peter were doing the same with their partners and nearby. Students. Lily carried Mipa through the thickening smoke toward the emergency shower station. She placed Mipa under it and pulled the lever. Water poured down, washing away the chemical residue on Mipa's skin. "The cleaning agent," Mipa whispered weakly. "Cabinet 3. Lily ran to the cabinet, grabbed a bottle of purple gel, and rushed. Back, she gently applied it to Mipa's affected skin. The bubbling stopped. Around them, the other humans had taken charge. John had found emergency breathing masks and was distributing them. Kate had activated the room's emergency ventilation. Override. Sam and Peter were helping stunned alien students to the hallway. Within minutes, the room was clear. The blue smoke was gone. Emergency medical staff finally arrived, looking confused at the scene. The humans had already done their jobs. Later. That day, Dean Zixfoon called all 5 humans to his office. "Your actions today were..." The dean's eye stalks waved in what they had learned was agitation. "Unprecedented." "We just did what needed to be done," John said. "That is precisely the issue," the dean replied. "Our emergency protocols clearly state that in case of chemical exposure, students must remain still and wait for professional assistance." Lily stepped forward. "With all due respect, Dean Zixfoon, Mipa would have suffered permanent damage or died waiting. The chemicals were burning her skin, and the smoke was spreading," added Kate. "More students would have been affected if we waited." The Dean's body pulsed with blue light. "You do not understand. Most species in the galaxy have evolved to freeze in danger. It is the safest response on most worlds. Moving, taking action without proper assessment, these behaviors get species killed." "Not on Earth," Peter said quietly. "On Earth, freezing gets you killed." There was a long silence. "3 students are in the medical bay because of your actions," the dean finally said. The humans looked at each other in alarm. "They are suffering from shock," the dean continued. "Not from the chemicals, but from watching you 5 run into danger." The concept was so foreign to them that their brains could not process it. They short-circuited, as you might say. Sam couldn't help but laugh, then quickly covered his mouth. "Sorry." The dean's color changed slightly. "However, Dr. Mipa and 2 others would have sustained serious injuries without your intervention. Our medical staff confirmed this. So... Are we in trouble?" John asked. "No," the dean said. "But we must reevaluate certain protocols. Perhaps there are situations where the human response is more effective." As they left the dean's office, Lily noticed a group of alien students watching them from down the hall. Unlike before, they weren't looking at the humans with fear. There was something new in their gaze. It looked almost like respect. "I think things are about to get interesting," John said. Lily nodded. "They haven't even seen us during a real emergency yet." Little did they know that a real emergency was coming sooner than anyone expected. News of the chemistry lab incident spread quickly through the Galactic Academy. The 5 humans found themselves the center of attention. Alien students who once avoided them now approached with curious questions. "Is it true you carried Mipa through toxic smoke?" A fuzzy purple alien asked Lily in the cafeteria. "Yes," Lily replied, picking at her Earth-safe food. Her skin was reacting badly to the chemicals. "But weren't you afraid?" The alien press. Lily thought about it. "I was worried, not afraid. There's a difference." More aliens gathered around the humans' table. One tall, thin alien with glowing spots along its body spoke up. "Our instructors teach us that in emergency situations, we should remain still and wait for help. That works sometimes, John said. But on Earth, we learn to react quickly. Our planet has many dangers. Those who freeze often don't survive. The aliens whispered among themselves. This concept seemed completely foreign to them, not after the meal. Dean Zixvoon announced a special event. To foster better understanding between species, we will hold a cultural exchange day tomorrow. Each group will demonstrate activities from their home worlds. The humans met that evening to plan their presentation. What should we show them? Sam asked. Most Earth activities would terrify them. That's the point, Kate said. They need to understand why we are the way we are. The next day, the academies. Main Hall was transformed. Different stations represented dozens of planets. Aliens demonstrated strange musical instruments, showed holographic art, or performed slow, graceful dances. The human station drew the biggest crowd. John had set up a small rock climbing wall. Lily prepared to demonstrate basic self-defense moves. Sam had a cooking station with earth spices. Kate brought simple board games that required quick thinking. Peter had pictures of Earth's various environments: deserts, oceans, mountains, and cities. Welcome to Earth Day, John announced to the gathered aliens. We'll show you a little of what shaped humans into who we are. Lily went first. She demonstrated a simple wrist escape from a grab. She asked a brave alien volunteer to hold her. Wrist then showed how she could twist free in one quick movement. The aliens gasped. On Earth, we sometimes face dangers from other humans, she explained. We learn to protect ourselves. Next, John climbed the small wall, moving quickly from hold to hold. The aliens watched in silent shock as he deliberately let go with one hand to reach for a distant grip. Humans climb mountains for fun, he said when he returned to the ground. We enjoy testing our limits. Sam's cooking demonstration caused the most dramatic reaction. When he added hot pepper to a simple dish, the smell alone made several aliens back away. You consume this willingly? Asked a horrified Clib, his antennae pulled back tight against his head. It adds flavor, Sam explained. Many human foods would be dangerous to alien species. Our bodies evolved to handle many substances that would be toxic to others. As the demonstrations continued, a small group of aliens watched from the back of the room. Unlike the curious students, these observers seemed concerned. The humans are more adaptable than we anticipated, one whispered. They could pose a greater threat than we thought. We should report this to the Central Committee, another replied. They need to know what Deathworlders are truly capable of. Meanwhile, the event continued. At one point, Mipa approached Lily. I wanted to thank you properly for saving me in the laboratory, Mipa said, her forearms moving in a formal gesture. Our medical staff said I would have suffered permanent damage without your quick action. Anyone would have done the same, Lily replied. No, Mipa said firmly. No one from any other world would have done what you did. We would have waited for help, even if it meant watching others suffer. It is difficult for us to understand your way. Maybe we can learn from each other, Lily suggested. Your way is probably safer in many situations. Humans sometimes act too quickly and make mistakes. Mipa's skin changed to a lighter shade. Of green. There is wisdom in that. Perhaps there is a middle path. As the day ended, Dean Zixvoon called for attention. I hope we have all learned something valuable today. Tomorrow, we will return to regular classes. But I encourage you all to continue these cultural exchanges informally. The humans packed up their demonstrations, feeling satisfied. For the first time, they felt like they were breaking through the fear barrier. Did you see how they reacted? To the climbing wall? John said to Lily. You'd think I was hanging over a pit of lava instead of 5 feet off the ground with safety mats. Lily nodded. I think they're starting to understand us a little better. But I also saw those officials in the back. Not everyone is happy we're here. We'll just have to keep showing them that humans aren't just dangerous, John replied. We're dangerous in ways that can be helpful. Neither of them realized just how soon that statement would be tested. In orbit above them, on the Academy's research station, a small power fluctuation was about to become something much worse. 1 month after the Cultural Exchange Day, the Galactic Academy announced an exciting opportunity. 10 students would visit the orbital research station for a 3-day study program. John and Lily were selected along with 8 alien students, including Mipa and Clib. This is amazing, John said as their shuttle approached the station. I never thought I'd get to do research in space during my exchange year. The orbital station was a ring-shaped structure that slowly rotated to create artificial gravity. From the windows of the shuttle, they could see solar panels stretching out like silver wings. Professor Grektal, a tall alien with metallic scales, greeted them at the docking bay. Welcome to Station Orbital 7. You will be conducting experiments in zero-gravity environments. Your quarters are in Section C. The laboratories are in Section A. The students settled into their rooms. The station felt peaceful. Through the windows, they could see the stars, and the curve of the planet below. The first day went smoothly. They learned how to move in low gravity and conducted simple experiments. John worked with Clib on crystal formation in zero-gravity conditions. Lily and Mipa studied how certain plants grew without gravity's pull. On the second day, as they were finishing lunch in the station's small cafeteria, a loud alarm suddenly blared. Warning! Power fluctuation detected in Section B backup systems engaging. The alien students immediately stopped moving. Their bodies went rigid, the familiar freeze response that humans had seen before. What's happening? Lily asked Professor Grektal. A minor power issue, the professor said, but his scales had changed from gold to a dull gray. The backup systems will manage it. We should remain here until the lights flickered and went out. Emergency lights came on, casting everything in a dim red glow. Warning, backup systems failure, main power offline, life support operating at reduced capacity. Now Professor Grektal also froze, his eyes wide with fear. John looked at Lily. This isn't good. Warning, oxygen recycling systems compromised. Estimated time to critical levels, 3 hours. John stood up. Professor, what's the emergency protocol? The professor's voice came out flat. We wait for rescue. Emergency signals have been automatically sent to the planet. How long until help arrives? Lily asked. Standard response time is 6 to 8 hours. John and Lily exchanged alarmed looks. 6 to 8 hours with only 3 hours of oxygen was not good math. We need to fix this ourselves, John said. The professor's scales rippled with shock. Impossible. The systems are too complex. We must wait. John turned to Lily. I'm going to check the power core in Section B. I'll check life support in Section D, Lily replied. Maybe we can at least extend the oxygen supply. They looked at their fellow students, still frozen in place. Mipa's skin had turned a pale blue, a sign of extreme stress. We'll be back, John told them. Just stay calm and breathe slowly to conserve oxygen. John and Lily left the cafeteria. The station's corridors were eerily quiet, lit only by the red emergency lights. When they reached the junction, John turned right toward Section B, while Lily went left toward Section D. John found the power core room locked down. He used the emergency override code they had been given during orientation. Inside, he saw the problem immediately. A small fire had damaged the main power coupling. The automatic fire suppression system had contained it, but the power connection was severed. This isn't as bad as it looks, John muttered to himself. He opened a tool panel on the wall and got to work. Meanwhile, Lily reached life support control. The screens showed oxygen levels dropping across the station. She noticed that some sections were losing oxygen faster than others. "There must be a leak," she said aloud. She checked the system diagnostics and found it, a small breach in Section F, causing the station to lose precious air to space. Lily used the station's communication system. "John, can you hear me?" "I'm here," his voice crackled through the speaker. "I think I can restore partial power, but it will take about an hour." "We have a bigger problem," Lily replied. "There's an oxygen leak in Section F. Even if we get power back, we'll keep losing air." "Can you seal it?" "Not remotely. Someone needs to go there and manually close the emergency bulkhead." There was a pause. "That section would have no air." "Yes," Lily said. "And no power for the pressure suits." Another pause. "I'll finish the power repair, then head to Section F. There should be emergency oxygen masks that can give me about 15 minutes of air." "That's cutting it close," Lily warned. "Better than the alternative," John replied. Back in the cafeteria, the alien students and Professor Grechtal remained frozen, barely moving except to breathe. On a screen on the wall, they could see security camera footage of the two humans working frantically to save the station. "They're going to get themselves killed," the professor whispered. "No," Mipa said suddenly, her voice trembling but determined. "They're going to save us all." "How can you know that?" Clib asked. "Because they're humans," Mipa replied. "This is what they do. They run toward danger, not away from it." On the screen, they watched as John connected wires with his bare hands, occasionally wincing when sparks flew. In another section, they saw Lily rerouting oxygen from unused areas of the station to buy them more time. The aliens watched in stunned silence as the Deathworlders fought to keep them all alive. In the cafeteria, the alien students watched the screens with growing anxiety. John had managed to restore partial power to the station. Now he was preparing to enter Section F to seal the oxygen leak. "He can't survive in there," Professor Grechtal said, his scales now almost white with stress. "The atmosphere is vented completely." On the screen, they saw John putting on an emergency oxygen mask. It was a simple device, not a full spacesuit. His body would be exposed to the near vacuum of the depressurized section dock in life support control. Lily spoke to John through the communication system. "You have exactly 12 minutes of oxygen in that mask. The section is completely depressurized. Your skin will swell, and you'll feel the moisture on your tongue and eyes begin to boil." "That sounds unpleasant," John replied, his voice muffled by the mask. "I'm serious, John. Humans can survive brief exposure to vacuum, but not for long. You need to get in, close the bulkhead, and get out in under 2 minutes." "Understood." John checked the mask one last time. "I'm going in." The aliens in the cafeteria leaned closer to the screen. Even Mipa, who had started to understand humans, couldn't believe what she was seeing. The door to Section F opened. Immediately, the remaining air rushed out. John grabbed a handrail to keep from being pulled out with it. Then he pushed himself into the section. Inside, the damage was worse than they'd thought. The hull breach was small, but debris from a micrometeorite impact had damaged the manual bulkhead controls. John would need to physically reconnect the mechanism. His skin began to swell slightly. He could feel pressure in his eyes and the saliva on his tongue beginning to bubble. Ignoring the sensations, he pulled himself to the damaged panel and began working Dot in the cafeteria. Something unexpected happened. Mipa stood up. "What are you doing?" Clib asked, his voice shaking. "They need help," Mipa said. "I'm going to life support control to help Lily." "But the protocol," Professor Grechtal began. "The protocol will get us all killed," Mipa interrupted. "Sometimes you need to move, not freeze." To everyone's surprise, Clib stood up too. "I'll go with you." In Section F, John's fingers were getting numb. The cold of space was seeping through his skin. He connected the final wire and pulled the emergency lever. The bulkhead slowly began to close. He pushed away, propelling himself back. Toward the exit, the lack of air made movement difficult. He couldn't swim through nothingness. As the bulkhead was almost closed, John used a last burst of strength to push through the narrowing gap. He tumbled into the corridor just as the seal completed with a hiss. Gasping through his mask, John pressed the button to repressurize the corridor. Air rushed in. He pulled off the mask, his lungs burning as he took deep breaths. "John? John!" Lily's voice came through the speaker. "Are you okay?" "I'm alive," he managed to say. "Bulkhead sealed. The oxygen levels are stabilizing." Lily replied, "And you have help coming. Mipa and Clib are on their way to you with medical supplies." John blinked in surprise. "The aliens are moving around during a crisis?" "It seems we've started a trend," Lily said, and he could hear the smile in her voice. Within an hour, power was restored to most of the station. The emergency was downgraded. Rescue ships were still coming, but now they would find a station in working order, with all students and staff alive and well dot in the main control room. The humans and aliens gathered. Professor Grechtal looked at John and Lily with new eyes. "Your actions today were—" He searched for words, contrary to all safety protocols. "But they worked," Mipa added. "Yes," the professor admitted. "They worked. Our traditional response would have resulted in casualties." John shrugged. "On Earth, we have a saying, sometimes the safest thing to do is the thing that looks most dangerous." 2 days later, back at the Galactic Academy, Dean Zixfoon called. A special assembly. All students and faculty gathered in the Great Hall. "Recent events have caused us to reconsider certain assumptions," the dean announced, his eye stalks moving slowly across the crowd. "For generations, we have viewed species from high-gravity, high-danger worlds as threats to galactic peace. We called them Deathworlders and feared their unpredictable natures." The dean's body changed to a deep blue color. "But sometimes, crisis requires action, not caution. Sometimes, danger must be met with danger." He gestured to the 5 human students, who stood together at the side of the stage. "Therefore, the Academy is creating a new program, Emergency Response Training. Our human guests will teach interested students how to act decisively in crisis situations. Participation is voluntary, but encouraged." After the assembly, dozens of alien students lined up to sign up for the new program. Mipa and Clib were first in line. "I never thought I'd see the day when aliens would want to learn to be more like humans," Lily said in amazement. John smiled. "They don't want to be like us. They just want to learn from us, the same way we can learn from them." That evening, in the Earth Room, the 5 humans celebrated with Earth music and foods. A knock at the door surprised them. Outside stood group of alien students, led by Mipa and Clib. "We brought offerings from our home worlds," Mipa said, holding out strange-looking fruits. "We thought perhaps we could have a real cultural exchange," Clib added, "one where we all learn from each other." The humans welcomed them in. As they shared food and stories, Lily realized something important. They had come to the Galactic Academy as curiosities, as potential dangers to be contained. But now they were being seen as something else entirely. The dangerous Deathworlders had become teachers of survival. The safety hazards had become the safety experts. And in that moment, the universe became a little smaller and a little safer for everyone.